Gourmand is a round dough ball with a lot of physical strength and hidden potential. He's a muted beige color, a significant departure from the vibrant hues of the rest of the cast. His goals are similarly mundane when compared with those of the other characters. Hunter must wrestle his way through a violent biomechanical ecosystem in order to deliver aid to a dying supercomputer. Artificer's children were killed by a scavenger, and she now perpetuates war with the entire species to exact revenge in a futile attempt to find solace. Gourmand is simply exploring new foods in new places. Returning to his colony to share stories about what he ate is optional. Gourmand is absent of noble goals or even real ambition. However, rather than being a flaw, this is the adhesive which binds his character together. Gourmand is content with his place in the food chain, provided that he's able to munch up the chain as well. Everything about Gourmand is consistent with his motives and stature, especially his abilities. Let's blaze through his strengths and weaknesses at face value and then extrapolate the consequences. Gourmand deals 3 damage on his first spear throw, which is enough to kill any predator up to a centowing with a single throw. For reference, here's a bar graph that demonstrates the damage each slugcat deals on spear throw. His first spear throw utterly dwarfs every other character in terms of damage. That being said, Big G doesn't need a spear to deal damage. Sliding into an enemy deals minor damage and stuns enemies for an acceptable amount of time when it works. His roll deals 2 damage and stuns enemies for much longer, and falling onto an enemy does anywhere between 2 and 20 damage based on the distance that you plummet.
And his name is John C.
You can kill the vast majority of unarmored creatures with a single hit if you fall from high enough. You won't always have access to a height advantage, but his slide covers more distance and his roll lasts much longer. Gourmand is actually fairly mobile on flat terrain where the full potential of his roll can be realized. His spear throw offers a lot of forward momentum, allowing him to cross larger gaps than normal. When climbing, he can't throw a spear without falling off of his pole, which can be irritating in regions like Chimney Canopy or Sky Islands. At the expense of 1 food pip, Gourmand will regurgitate a random item from this table, offering him access to ingredients in any environment as long as he has enough food. This is relevant because our roly-poly boy has an ability often referred to as crafting, but I feel that it's more appropriate to call it conversion. This is a table of all the crafting recipes available to Gourmand. In most cases, the quality of the ingredients does not actually increase. They just change from one form to another. This is honestly perfect as it is. Gourmand doesn't need to craft powerful tools. He just needs to convert his resources to create the right tool. A demonstration. The red centipede is an ordeal for any slugcat to take down. It's also a key item on Gourmand's optional food quest. With a little bit of preparation, Gourmand can regurgitate or craft a spore puff. Throwing 1 or 2 of these on a red centipede will render it dead within a minute or so, effectively turning a harrowing confrontation with an apex predator into a trivial fetch quest.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Holding 2 different food items in each hand and eating them both grants him 1 additional food pip, which is important because even without using the regurgitation ability, Gourmand requires 7 food per day, the most of any canon slugcat. He's slower on poles and in pipes, and has nerfed stealth abilities. All of these abilities are creative, compelling, and thematically appropriate for Gourmand's character. They each perfectly support his identity as a fuel-guzzling, rotund powerhouse. He has a vicious spear throw, uses his mass as a weapon, and rolls everywhere because his shape dictates that it's an efficient means of navigation. His close connection to his food is a tool and a weapon. He's clever, able to use the resources he has on hand to develop solutions to threatening problems. Due to his unique combination of strengths, Gourmand is unrivaled in single combat with any monster, especially with preparation time and the element of surprise. His character design is impeccable. His appearance, his abilities, and his story are seamlessly intertwined. Of course, there's one final piece to this puzzle. Gourmand has one last mechanic I've yet to mention, but I need to explain some context first. To understate, Rain World is not a game that caters to the power fantasies of your average isekai reader. You are a tiny, insignificant prey animal, desperately trying to find your way through a vast ecosystem filled with terrifying predators. Unless you have weaponry equivalent to the task, and often even when you do have it, your best option is to parkour your little slugcat out of there.
Parkour!
Parkour is a core mechanic of the game, to escape from predators, to secure sustenance, and for traversal of difficult areas. The last trait exclusive to Gourmand is his exhaustion mechanic. Push him to perform too much physical activity and he becomes spent. While exhausted, Gourmand grudgingly follows the most basic commands like waddling away from the lizard chasing him with his jaws wide open, and utterly refuses to do anything fancy.
That's quite big. Impressive.
Gourmand is unique because for him, parkour is a resource. If you mismanage it, you die. Furthermore, there's no stamina bar or exhaustion meter, which means that knowing when Gourmand needs a nap comes down entirely to skill and experience. I have fallen to my death many times because I tried to jump one too many gaps without taking a breather. Although Gourmand's spear throw does 3 damage, it also immediately exhausts him. While exhausted, his spear throws each deal 3/10 of a single point of damage, or half the damage of the weakest character in the game. And unlike Monk, Gourmand doesn't have the power of friendship to prevent himself from becoming lizard food. If you miss a spear throw, you die. If you have to fight 2 lizards, you die. If your opponent can afford to take 3 points of damage, you die. Rain World is a very punishing game, even on the easiest difficulty. The ecosystem you navigate is deadly, as a single misstep will often immediately prove. This is by design, and it's a key contributor to the tone of the game and your immersion in it. Dying violently and often makes you feel just as afraid as your slugcat does. In fact, I execute my best platforming under threat of lizard and vulture. Adrenaline drives my performance. It's thrilling. The most irritating part about Gourmand is that he gives up right when you need him the most. He concedes at the same moment that every other character becomes a pure vessel for transcendent play born of undiluted panic. This is why Gourmand's exhaustion mechanic is uniquely punishing. When playing every other character, you have a fair chance to wiggle out of a tight spot with a little bit of adrenaline and experience. Did you miss a spear throw on Hunter? Evade until you can retrieve your spear and try again, or just retreat. Gourmand is absolutely denied this luxury. Missing a spear throw makes your death a certainty. If using your body as a kinetic weapon fails, you're now well within the chomp radius of the predator you just failed to body slam. You must dispatch your opponent on the first try, because Gourmand won't be around for a second attempt. The only way to ensure your survival is to swing first and to swing hard. Big G's campaign forced me to play in a vicious, bloodthirsty way. You can't leave a lone lizard alive because it may show up behind you as you face another, and then you've got 1 spear throw and 2 lizards. Game over. Gourmand has the ability to craft and weaponize a localized distortion in space-time from a rare flower and an egg, but I would immediately trade it for the ability to simply throw 2 spears. Gourmand's campaign requires you to plan ahead. There is no other option. You will be punished for trying to play Gourmand the way that you play every other character. You will be punished for relying on parkour, the core mechanic of every other character. He has absurd, obscene spikes of power, but that power vanishes when you need it the most. Gourmand is a truly perfect character design. His capabilities are faultless in context with the rest of his character. His food quest is an entertaining win condition, and he cannot be honestly described as a weak character. Despite all of that, Gourmand's exhaustion mechanic makes playing his campaign utterly miserable at times, and ultimately ruins my enjoyment of his otherwise immaculate character design. Hey guys, Sauce here. Take everything I've said with a grain of salt. As frustrating as the exhaustion mechanic is, his campaign is still a treat to complete. I completed both the optional food quest and the unique Outer Wilds ending, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. This video is more of a word of warning to newcomers to Gourmand's campaign than a genuine complaint about his mechanics. Do you agree with what I've said in this video? Do you disagree? Put it in the comments. I would genuinely love to hear what you have to say. Stay safe, guys. Goodbye.